Hey, you're about to meet not one, but two heroes. Together, they are saving lives and unleashing pure love. I am honored to welcome to our show the captain of Fire Station 31 at Miami-Dade and her amazing Greyhound. Please give pause and applause to Captain Sean Capana and her service dog, Charlie. Welcome, welcome.
Hi.
Look at Charlie.
Scratch, you know.
Yeah, Charlie goes, this is my best side. No, that's my best side. Hey, everyone, just strap yourselves in because their story is all about rescuing and generating hope. Captain Sean, that just sounds good. Captain Sean, how long have you been a captain in Miami-Dade Fire Department?
Over 15 years at this rank, but I've got totally 26 years with Miami-Dade Fire Rescue.
Wow. Now, most kids, when they dream of, maybe being an astronaut or something. Did you always want to be a firefighter?
Well, I actually wanted to be three things: a school teacher, a nurse, and an astronaut.
Okay.
But they didn't work out, and I ended up on the fire department.
How did that happen?
I had moved to Miami, and I used to work out. I was very athletic, and I saw the fire engines driving around, and I just knew that I could do it. And I always love a good challenge. So sure enough, I went by, visited some stations, and I just kind of fell in love, like with the trucks and the hoses and, the station life. And so eventually I started applying to get hired.
It's not easy, is it?
No, it isn't. There's a lot of competition, and you have to be in very good shape. You have to pass physical tests, written tests, psychological tests. So yeah, it took me about 5 years, but eventually I got hired.
And I mean, you and I have something in common. We have tall phone voices. How tall are you?
I'm 5'3.5".
Okay, you got me by an inch. Okay, you got me by an inch. That didn't matter, did it?
No, it didn't. As long as you could do it, then you pass.
All right. So you have a program, and I want people to realize it's tough being a firefighter, isn't it?
Yes.
And there is issues with mental wellness and PTSD and suicide. Is there some things you can share with people that they may not realize how much those things impact firefighters more so than the general public?
Yeah. So when you think about firefighter illness and injury, you think about cancer and injuries, falls from buildings and stuff like that. But until recently, nobody considered mental health. So when you think about our job, what we do is we go and basically see the worst of humanity every third day of our lives. And it, after a certain amount of time, can also start being pervasive into your personal life. So for instance, there was a run of pediatric drownings that we had one year in North Miami Beach, child after child after child after child. So when you have children and you go home, and, your spouse says, hey, we're going to take the kids to the lake, the first thing you end up saying is, oh, no, we're not.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to see those things happening in the neighborhoods that you work and grew up in. And, so sometimes it can take its toll if you don't. We're very good about taking care of our bodies and our physical health, but we weren't very good at all taking care of our mental health. So recently, mental wellness in the fire department and really for responders in general has been a big deal. And that's what this program has become about.
So it's Response Canine Teams. Is that correct?
Crisis Response Canine Teams. Yes.
Okay. So tell us what that is. And we're going to get to Charlie's backstory in a minute, but Charlie's kind of the captain of the crisis response.
It's always, it's actually about him more so than me. Everybody knows his name. It's never mine,
That's okay though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I started the program in 2016. We started doing our studies at the station with Charlie. In 2015, I joined the peer support team. And what the peer support does is it's firefighters trained.
Okay.
And after tough calls, like a pediatric drowning, like a firefighter suicide, what we do is we have a team. We take the units out of service And we have a team go to the station. They get a chance to relax and, talk to a group of people if they want to. And we bring the dogs. And it's a chance for them to process what they've just experienced. We're so used to running call after call after call and not even allowing ourselves to think about what just happened or what we just saw. And look, we're human beings. We're not supermen and superwomen. We know that now. And by not processing any of this is how we ended up developing PTSD. Along with PTSD comes suicide ideation. So our department is very big. We have about 80 fire stations, but we've had 31 suicides documented between active and retired from when our first documentation until now.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about this because you yourself thought about it.
Yes. So in 2014, I got my diagnosis of complex PTSD, and I started going through all the symptoms and not understanding what was going on. I lost function in every area of my life. And then eventually, had months-long cycles of wanting to kill myself.
When you say symptoms, what were you to help others so they can get help? What were you feeling?
Disorientated. I used to be in the gym every single day since I was 13. Up until that point, I lost.
I saw you there. No, just kidding.
I lost interest in everything that I used to like. I started having reactivity as far as anger. I would faint out in public. I got anxiety so bad. That's another reason that when I decided that I wasn't going to do that to myself, I had to do something. I did try therapy for a year, but the therapist said there was nothing they could do for me. So that's when things got really bad. I know. So I had my dogs, and I decided, I ran a call one day. It was a domestic violence call. And as I was writing the report for her, we were waiting for the ambulance to come transport her. And out of her bedroom walks a dog with a PTSD service dog vest on. Now, I knew I had it at that point, but I didn't know that there were dogs that could help with PTSD. So I asked the patient, while we were sitting there waiting for the ambulance, how does the dog help you? How did you get it to become a service dog? So she told me, and I went home, looked it up, and I found one of 3 trainers right here in Fort Lauderdale, Daniel De La Rosa, that could actually train greyhounds to be service dogs because it was kind of unheard of back then.
Well, yeah, everybody thinks of the golden retriever, the Labrador retriever. Right. But I'm sorry, let's give it up for the greyhounds, because I've been watching you on this podcast, and Charlie was listening to you and feeling your emotion and came right to you.
Yeah.
You can't, that's intuitive. That's a pretty amazing dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you rescued Charlie. Tell us about that. And Charlie's rescuing you. So let's tell us the backstory to Charlie.
Yeah, so I fell in love with greyhounds about 15 years ago. And
what is it about greyhounds you love?
Well, they're muscular and lean, but they're also very docile and sweet. Right. I call him the 45-mile-an-hour couch potato for a reason. He will sleep 20 out of 24 hours if allowed.
Okay.
Yeah. So I love that breed. I fell in love and I went and fostered for the rescue. I had 5 of my own greyhounds. I failed miserably as a foster many times, but I've fostered, over 20. I lost count. And my responsibility was to put weight on them. So they were pretty emaciated when they would come from the track. And, if they needed medications or to be treated for worms or to heal broken legs, and this way they could be adopted healthier, which would increase their odds of being adopted.
Yeah.
So,
and then I used to live in South Florida. I worked at the Fort Lauderdale Sun Sentinel. I remember in Palm Beach County, they had the greyhound races. Here comes Rusty. Yeah. And tell us about, Charlie was one of the greyhound racers, right?
He sure was. Yeah. So I had stopped fostering for a little while because there weren't any to foster. And my own greyhound, Zen, he needed a buddy. So I called Michelle at the Friends of Greyhound Rescue. And I said, listen, I'm ready for another one. And I said, I want a black female, because the black dogs, for some silly racing, whatever, just wouldn't get adopted as much as all the other dogs.
Okay.
Like black dogs didn't win as much. So people honestly wouldn't adopt them as much. So I told her, I said, I'm bringing home a black female.
Yes,
And
that's
she
what
goes,
you
all right,
declared.
let me go up to Palm Beach and bring some back. I'll get you your dog. So I was finishing up a tattoo. At 8:30 at night, she called me that she had just gotten back from Palm Beach County, that she had my dog. So I said, great. I went right over to her house. She had kennels in her garage. And I saw 2 black greyhounds. I went right up to both crates. I opened them both up. I'm playing with them. And she goes, that's the one I brought back for you. And it was a white male. So I walked
Total
right
opposite.
past Charlie, didn't even see him. And then I said to her, well, what am I going to do now? Look, this one's already in my lap. And she goes, look, just take Charlie home. If anything, bring him back and have one of these, So I said, okay, and I put Charlie in the car, and I had never gone back with him again since.
Thanks so much for making our tails wag by watching this guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life. Make sure to subscribe so you're up to date with all of our Four-Legged Life content. Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life.